Now, we hear a lot about the metaverse, but my next guest heads a business that claims to have been providing a bridge between the physical and digital worlds for the last 37 years. Oxford Metrics develops software supporting motion measurement and helping infrastructure owners such as highways authorities manage their assets. Today, the company reported an 89% rise in pre-tax profits to £4.8 million for the full year to the end of September. The chief executive of Oxford Metrics is Nick Bolton, and he joins me now. Nick, very good morning to you. Which are the parts of the business where you've seen most growth in demand lately?
So really over the past 12 months, it's really been in the area of virtual production. So we sell some technology that's used for creating great shows like the Mandalorian, the Disney ILM, Star Wars spin out. And what we've seen over the pandemic is actually a retooling going on inside that industry towards virtual production techniques. And what that means is that originally it came about because we couldn't get so many people on set because of constraints of population, of people density and so forth. And so they invented new ways then to actually try to create these new shots with these LED walls and tracking cameras. And that now has actually become a trend that's absolutely stuck. And now there's a fundamental retooling that's going on inside those big TV and big film productions.
And also
so that area is and certainly computer games. So I don't know if you're a video gamer, but the PlayStation 5, I'm sure you know, has certainly been released. And that always drives, when those companies come out with those new platforms, they always drive an upgrade cycle within our customer base. And, we've always had a very strong presence in games. So, all 10 of the world's top 10 largest game companies are our customers. So as those consoles come out, they do also help drive our business. So, very much there's been, we feel over the past 12 months, past 2 years with the pandemic, we've seen an acceleration of this coming of the thing we call the augmented age, right? Which is this partnership where humans and machines combined to achieve more than anything can achieve alone. And the pandemic's only accelerated that interface between that real world and the virtual world that you mentioned in your introduction.
You mentioned some of those computer games companies as your customers. Do you ever worry that they might take some of the expertise that you provide for them in-house and develop it themselves?
Well, they're very much focused on creating those amazing games, right? So their focus is in how do you create an engaging game experience that's all about content, that's about narrative and so forth. But they still got to rely on fundamental technology to be able to capture the movements of the actors or the athletes if they're working on FIFA soccer and so forth. And that really is where we come in. So, we've been working in the game space since '95. And so if there was really going to be a focus for them to sort of come and try and implement the stuff that we've already got, I think they might have done it already by now. Rather, we see them as our very strong partners and we're using our tools to then help both guide what we need to develop in the future, but also help them realise the amazing games that people get to play these days.
Now, the other strand of the business, of course, is infrastructure management. I think something like a third of the UK's road network is managed using your software. Does that mean you're the people who are helping implement smart motorways?
So the software is an asset management tool. So it might be used to manage certainly the roadways we all drive on, but also even the litter bins and the emptying those litter bins, the lighting columns. So you say, a third of the road network is, our customers are using it to manage about a third of the UK's road network. There's actually half the UK streetlights are being managed in our software as well. So it doesn't really matter regardless of the asset type. They can still be managed in our software. And smart motorways is certainly an element that is that is an area of attention for managing assets, as it would be, Bournemouth High Street as well.
Now, you've talked a lot about what you call smart sensing. Which are the great untapped markets for greater use of sensors and monitoring?
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing it anyway in all of our daily lives. You can buy an Apple AirTag, which is a rather nice encapsulation of smart sensing. That's one of those tags that you put in on your key fob to make sure that if you ever lose your keys, you can go to an app on your phone and say, where are my keys? And it will identify, where it is. So those sensors, just as there are sensors in my running watch that's monitoring my heart rate, or there are sensors in our phone, that world really of cheap available sensors coupled with powerful analytical software that can exist both on the device and in the cloud is already present in lots of lives. And I'm not saying that we're going to dominate the world in all of those areas, but I think we have to look to where we've got capability and heritage and where our customer base is. And that broadly fits into 4 specific vertical markets inside healthcare, inside engineering, inside entertainment, and inside research. And so in all those areas, that's really where we've been strong. And so within those, they're all seeing those smart sensing solutions being taken up. So in games, it's about producing the games, but it's also the way you experience those games. Inside engineering, it's about tools that enable an engineer to better devise a new device or a new capability. So we've got a lot of the big tech companies using our tools. And I think healthcare is perhaps the one that's the most interesting, because now you've got a way to actually collect sensed information about our health, about our level of activity, how idle are we when we sit at our desk, or what are our range of motion of our knee joint post some surgery that we've had because we had a bad skiing accident and so forth. Effectively instrumenting the quantified self, instrumenting the self, in order to be able to get data that actually you can gather on a mass basis that researchers can then look at and then actually make better interventions with those people because you've got that larger data set. I think that's probably, for me, the most exciting area that I think can make a real difference both to our business, but also actually genuinely to our, to our human condition and to our fellow people's lives. That's a good thing.
Now, you mentioned data there. Obviously, I imagine you're collecting masses and masses of data every day. Who owns that data? Is it you or your customers?
It's really all of our customers. So in other words, we provide the tools by which they gather data. So if it's someone like Nike or Electronic Arts, EA, who are making a video game or trying to understand an athlete, they buy our system. It gathers the data that's stored locally there, and of course that's then up to Nike or EA or MIT or NASA to best manage that data. On the healthcare side, clearly, rightly so, there are very clear constraints about what you can do with patient information and patient data. And again, that means it's the hospital or the research institute who owns that, and then they manage all of those things. So although I would say our systems are gathering a great deal of data, that doesn't come to us. That was all held locally by the individual operator.